Hi to everybody that's joining us. Hi, welcome. My name's Leigh. Welcome to the Setup and Score session today. Don't mind just popping in the chat whereabouts you are on your ScoreApp journey at the moment. So whether you're yet to start, whether you're in the process of building, whether you've launched, it just gives me a really good idea of where everybody is. So I can make sure that I cover all of the different scenarios. So it is a very interactive session today. I will be asking if anyone's got any questions, anyone's got any particular questions that they want to ask. I'll be asking for examples that I can bring up on the screen if you're happy to share them. So at any time, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. Because we'd love to, obviously, for you to get the most out of this session as possible. So hi, Jonathan. So you're yet to start. Hi, Nano. I hope I've said that right. Katie and Don. So we're all in the same boat there, which is good. So we're just starting out. So this is going to be great because we're going to cover from start to finish how to get your scorecard set up. Okay, so I am going to jump into the session. So if you've just joined us, I'm Leigh from ScoreApp. I am the Customer Success Manager at ScoreApp, and I work as part of the support team. So we can help with any technical questions. We can help develop a concept if you need help with that, develop questions, and also just making sure that scorecard is as high performing as possible as well. Okay, so jumping in, before we even get to the platform, we recommend defining your scorecard concept. So this is going to be, transferred into the headline of your scorecard. And we recommend that concept for your scorecard is aligned with a common desire from your target audience. So you know your target audience really well. You know the problems that they face and what it is that you help them to solve. And that's the beauty of the scorecard. So they have got this goal that they want to achieve. The scorecard's aligned with that. They take it, and at the end of the scorecard, they get their score to show them how well they're performing against that goal, and what else. They get all this useful information from you as to what else they need to focus on to be able to get to that goal. So let's talk about some ideas for the concept. So as I mentioned, we can base it on that common desire or goal. So here's some examples. I'm sure if many of you joined us from Expert Empire's event last week or through other sources, you may have heard of Daniel Priestley, and he developed a scorecard called the Key Person of Influence scorecard. And the desire there is to be the key person of influence. It may be that the desire is to have a high-performing team, so you could have a high-performing team scorecard. The desire is you're going on a holiday, you want to feel good on the beach, so it's the beach-ready scorecard. So just some examples there. The other way you could do it is to identify a common pain or frustration, and you could base your concept on that, which you can transfer into the headline that will go on the landing page. So, for example, avoid being hacked scorecard, the fitness injury prevention scorecard, avoid burnout scorecard. So these are all really good examples that you could develop your scorecard concept around. So a few more ideas for you. The third one is to ask a question. So are you ready to, and it could be something. So are you ready to run a marathon? Take the scorecard. Are you ready to quit smoking? Take the scorecard. So that can be a good way as well. You've then got anything sort of topical or seasonal. Each of our score app packages, they include more than one scorecard. So it may be that sometimes you're running an event and you can use a scorecard as a registration for an event just to understand, where people's knowledge is at the moment. So you can pitch that event to the right solution. Maybe that you've got a seasonal goal. So if you're in fitness, January, you might want to change and have a unique scorecard for that particular campaign. And the very final recommendation is that you can also develop highest scoring personality category type tests. So you've probably come across them before, you know, when you answer like, oh, I'm mostly A's or I'm mostly B's. So you can have, you know, quizzes like find out if you're an introvert or extrovert, find out what kind of event planner you are, you know, are you super organized, are you you know, more, I can't think of the word, but unplanned in a nice way. And then you can obviously tailor the feedback to each of their personality styles as well. So concept is really important. Has everybody sort of got an idea of the concept at this stage? Does anybody want any help sort of defining their concept? If so, you know, please feel free to take off your microphone, give me an idea of what you do, and we can start to talk about some examples. So please feel free to jump in if you do need any help with your concept at this stage.
It's Don here.
Hi, how are you?
Not bad, not bad. A bit over my depth with this actually. The idea is I'm in security, so I'm selling like video doorbells and wireless cameras that all come back to an app.
Okay.
So generating the questions and the right highlight, I couldn't find any kind of examples from the list that you have.
Okay.
So this is kind of like working from scratch here.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I think, you know, something like that, you could develop a concept along the lines, you know, how secure is your house?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, do you have any questions? Could be along the lines of, do you have a video doorbell? Do you
as direct as that? Yeah.
CCTV? And in the end, yeah, you could give them a score saying, you know, you've scored low, the security at your house, you know, this is what we recommend, and give them some advice.
Yeah, I kind of went with as a starter, is my home safe?
Yeah.
Which
yeah, no, I think that's a very similar, and I think that seems like a good route to go down. I think if you use that as your concept and start to draft some questions, and see what the questions are, feel free to email them to us, and we can give you a bit more of guidance on that as well.
All right. That sounds interesting. Yeah, working with you on that sounds good. Thank you.
No problem at all. Okay, anybody else, guys, before we move on to the landing page? No. Okay, great. So once you've got your concept for your scorecard, you need to come into build your scorecard. So along the blue bar, you'll have what we call the scorecard builder. So it's the icon of the pencil and ruler. This basically gives you a list of all the elements that we need to work through. We're going to start on landing pages today. Now that's the page that you will drive traffic towards. So if I click on this little square box with the arrow pointing out, it will launch the landing page, and you can see the URL up here. You can update the URL so it doesn't have to have this code in it. I'll show you where to do that. But that's basically the URL that you share. You put a link on your website behind a button or a banner. You'll use in your advertising to drive traffic to the scorecard. And this landing page has to work super hard, because once you drive the traffic to the scorecard, it has to be like, wow, this is exactly what I need. And the target audience really resonate and understand it. So headline, once you've got your concept, it needs to be something that's going to hook them in. Visually, it needs to be impactful. And we need to have some elements of content in there that's going to help to explain what it is, what it does, who it's for, and how it's going to help them. So I'm just going to come back up to my slides here and talk about all the key elements we would like to see in a landing page. So clear, credible, and interesting copy. Let them know how long it's going to take. State the time investment. You know, answer 10 questions in less than 2 minutes, so they know up front. Be clear on the benefit of taking the scorecard. So if it is, for example, you know, a high performing team scorecard, then the benefits of having a high performing team, you know, that it's gonna increase retention, attraction of top talent, and really start to focus on those benefits. Everything is completely customizable. So you can, your branding, your colors, your fonts, and I'm going to show you how to build it as well. Also, we recommend having some information about who's created the scorecard, your experience, any of your background that helps people to associate the scorecard with credibility. So, it may be that, we've worked with, and you include all the logos of people that you've worked with. We've had 20 years experience. We've created this tool for you, to share our knowledge and experience using our proven methodology, for example. You could include testimonials on the landing page. Now, we always recommend that the testimonials you feature on the landing page are all about the value the scorecard has had on people that have taken it. So I took this scorecard and it was amazing. It gave me clarity on exactly what I needed to focus on next. Then if you could offer any bonuses. So, lots of our customers have a book or, some free webinar training that they want to share, or a download. It may be that you're on the advanced package, you're creating a PDF. All of those can be put on the landing page as a bonus for completing it. And then obviously the call to action on the landing page is going to be to take the scorecard. Okay, so let's go back to the platform. When you first started, you will notice that you've got a default landing page in your list. Now, what you can do is you can either click to edit that landing page, or you can click on create landing page. And this is, if you've already chosen a template option, you can edit the landing page that's included with the template. Or if you're building from scratch, everything that I cover is going to be applicable to both.
Okay, that's me. Mm-hmm.
So you've got all of these landing page templates. Now, these will just give you a structure. So if you like the look of one, then please feel free to pick up one of those. Equally, you could start without a template as well. And this will give you a completely blank page. And then we can just go and add sections. So you can see on the left here, you can click on add sections, and these are all the different sections you can add. So we're going to want a main banner, and you've got different versions of that main banner there. So let's just select this one here. So once you've selected the style that's right for you, it will open up some options for you to format it. So you can update the content. And then if you click on the style, you can then start to change the image. Sometimes it's quite nice to apply a bit of a shading to that image to make the text stand out. And you can change colors and so forth. So every section that you add, please work through the content and the styling sections for both to customize it. Now, this section above it was the header section, and that's where you can upload your logo. So if you click on that, you will be able to upload it from your files, but you'll also can see that you can search free images as well here. And if you click on the funnel as well, you'll be able to search icons. So you can add lots of nice imagery to your scorecard. So now I've added the main banner, I'm going to go back and look at the other section types. So I might want to start talking about the categories that people are going to be measured against. So I'm going to add a category section. I can see in this category section, I've got my 3 categories here. And I can click on them. I can update this content here, and then I can add an icon for each one, add a description. And if I want to add more categories or change the row, I can do as well. Now it knows that I've got 3 categories, so it's showing me my 3 categories. Yours might be different. So along with my category section, you can see you've got testimonials, call to actions, which, like I say, they're always to take the scorecard. And you've got other general content sections. So something like this section here could be the bit where you introduce yourself and your company and align it with credibility. So yeah, add sections, customize, brand, save. You will need one of the landing pages, which is published and made default. And that will be the one that's connected with your scorecard when you click on this square box with the arrow pointing out. And you've got the ability, if you click on those 3 dots, to publish, make default. So there's some options there. I think one thing actually I didn't mention there was that once you've added your sections, if you hover over it, you've got these grey dots here. I'm not sure if they're grey. They used to be grey. They might be blue. You can click on them and you can drag and drop them. So you can slot the section into the right positioning as well. Okay. So I'm going to come out of here. Has anyone built a landing page that we could just delve into and have a little look at?
I have.
Brilliant. What is your name? Sorry.
Justin Henderson.
Justin Henderson. Thank you, Justin. Okay. Okay, so did we speak previously?
Yeah, we spoke yesterday.
Hi, yes, nice to speak to you again. So take your wedding venue business to the next level. Answer 24 questions and we'll send you a personalized report with feedback tailored to your specific needs. It's quick and it's free. So I like that as a headline, take your wedding venue business to the next level. What I would like to see is take the scorecard and discover your score. People love to discover their score. So I just want to make it really obvious that this is a quiz, that they're going to get a score. So I would, take your wedding venue business to the next level. It could be that answer 24 questions and discover your score, and you make that subheading a little bit bigger and more obvious. It may be that the text inside the button you change to take the quiz. So it just makes it stand out more. Why take this scorecard? This scorecard is meant to help wedding venues uncover their strengths and weaknesses. Venues that take the wedding venue scorecard understand the key phases to build a stronger foundation. The first phase is assessing your business and understanding your strengths and weaknesses. Create a plan. Okay, great. So why take this scorecard? So that's exactly what I explained that we'd like to see. So that's really nice. The visuals are really nice. You'll be scored against. You could use alternative language there. So you'll be measured based on the following areas. Just sometimes that language against makes them feel like it's like a test.
Right.
Then, and then you've got your social media, CRM, automation. So I think you could maybe reduce the description under each one.
It was much longer before our meeting yesterday, so I tried to chop up. I try to chop up as much of that as I possibly could. How little should there be there?
I think if you've already reduced it, I would, and you're happy with this, I would go for it. The great thing about once you launch is you can track your conversion, and I can show you where you can see that information. But just we want that conversion to be tracking, at least above 20%. So, and that gives you an indication. And then all of these things like shortening these, you could try if you want to try and increase that conversion rate. But if you're happy with it, you've already reduced it, I would go for it as it is. Yeah. It's free, only answer 24 yes/no questions instantly. How you can improve. Start now. Yep, I like it. I think for me, I'd like to have some more kind of like maybe bullet points of like, increase your bookings, increase your revenue. So this bit's really nice. It gives you the clarity on, we're going to focus on some strengths and weaknesses, but those ultimate prizes at the end, it would be good to see.
Gotcha.
And I think also maybe a little bit of information about you as well. We are, so-and-so company, we've got a proven methodology, we've built this tool as a complementary resource. A section like that would be great.
Do you think that would be a good section to have, maybe it's presented as a video?
I wouldn't, on the landing page, I don't think you'd want that distraction on the landing page. I think the videos come really nicely into play in the results section, rather than the landing page would be my advice. Yeah. Oh, Justin, are you still there? I think I might have
Oh,
lost.
yes.
Yes.
No, I'm here. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay. No problem at all. Lovely. Anybody else happy to share their landing page if anyone else has created one at this stage? No. Okay, so we'll move on from the landing page. When I mentioned you can change the URL for the scorecard, so if you're on the starter package, you can customize. If you go to the builder and settings, this is where you can customize the URL. So it will have .scoreapp.com on the end. If you're on the advanced package option upwards, you could have the option of a custom domain name should you like, and in that case you go to your account and there's a custom domain section and you can add your custom domain there. This is also, when I mentioned about the dashboard, if you come to home, this shows you how many visits have arrived at your landing page, and then it shows you your conversion rate, so how many of those visits have gone on to start the scorecard. So this is the bit that we want to keep tracking when we first launch as well. Okay, so I just want to come back to my scorecard example rather than amend anything on yours, Justin. So bear with me a second. Okay, so we're back to this one. So we're going to come back to the scorecard builder here, and we're going to talk about now the questions. So you've got your concept, and we're going to talk about categories and questions. Now, categories are useful if it breaks down their overall score, because you can give them an overall score and then a score against each category. And you can also use dynamic content against each category as well as the overall. So per category, you could have low, medium, and high response, which enables you to tailor the feedback you're giving someone based on how they scored, and it feels more personalized. It shows that you're understanding exactly where they are and what they need to focus on to improve their score. So this particular example is a wellbeing performance scorecard. Therefore, the categories are exercise, sleep, and stress. And so somebody could go, oh, great, my sleep, I'm doing really well on, but actually I'm not handling my stress very well. So it gives somebody that visibility of what they need to focus on. So to add your categories, you just can come here, click on add category, and it is as simple as giving it as a name. You don't need to worry about any of the other information initially. Then if you go to questions, you can start to add your questions underneath each category. So we're just going to talk a little bit about the question formats. So when you go to add question, you've got a number of different formats. So yes, no, maybe. You've got scales. These three are a version of scales, and then you've got some multiple choice and open text. So if I was going to go for a yes, no, maybe question, you can set up the scoring. Do you sleep more than 8 hours a night? If the answer is yes, that's obviously positive and they score a point. If they say no, you don't need to give them any points at all. So the positive answer achieves a point, and the negative doesn't. If you want to include that third option, it may be that you go 0 for no. It may be go 1 for the middle option and then 2 for the top option. But yeah, up to you how if you want to use that middle option. It may not always be the yes that's the positive answer. It might be the no that scores the point as well. Then you've got your scales. Now they work slightly differently in terms of scoring, because however big you make that scale is how many points are available. So on a 0 to 10 scale, that's going to mean there's 10 points available. And wherever the user places themselves on that scale is how many points they've achieved. So if they choose position 5, they've got that 5 out of 10 points. Sliding scales allows you to just them to move the cursor and just slide it along. Linear scales, the 0 to 10 answer boxes will be underneath for them to select their answer in. Multiple choice buttons are really nice when the labels are quite short, so they can click straight onto the answer and go to the next question. We'd recommend using multiple choice check boxes if you'd like them to pick more than one answer from the list, because you can, under more settings, put a minimum and maximum option count down there as well. And then you've got your multiple choice radio button. So it's multiple choice, but if you've got like a longer answer, it might suit that question format better, because you can then put a selection into a circle next to the text, but you do have to then click next. So it's a two-step process, as opposed to if you're using multiple choice buttons, they click straight onto the button and go to the next question. And then you've got open text as well, which isn't a scored question, but it's good for finding out extra information that you'd like to collect, or allowing people to put a bit more information in there. So you set up your questions. So here's the maths bit of how the scoring works. Okay, it adds up the total amount of points possible overall and per category. So say in exercise, I had 10 points available. It will work out what the person taking the scorecard scored. So if they scored 5 out of the 10, it converts that to a percentage, which would be 50%, and it decides what score tier it falls into based on the percentage ranges that you have entered here. When you come to results and score tiers, these are the default ranges that you will find. So they tend to work. You might not have to even amend them because it's 100% broken down into thirds. But you obviously can if you want to, and you can also change the colors, add tiers, change the labels. You might have, for example, if someone's scored, low, you might want to put low burnout risk, or, high risk of burnout. So you can tailor those as desired. So I'm going to just, in terms of number of questions, I'm going to jump to that element here. So if it's a cold lead scorecard, we would recommend fewer questions. So you could have potentially 1 or 2 categories with, 8 to 15 questions. If your scorecard's aimed at warmer leads, then you could go up 20 to 50 questions. And if you're using it, we have lots of customers who use it as an assessment tool with their own customers. And obviously then you could ask as many questions as required. The easiest question format for people to answer is the yes, no, maybe. We recommend keeping it factual. So you're not asking somebody what their phone bill was last 3 months, where they might have to go and check. Something that they can answer on the spot. And those questions, they can be quite thought-provoking in themselves, where somebody is like, oh, okay, I don't do that. And they can start to spark those light bulb moments for them as well. So is anybody sort of need any help with the scoring or help on questions? Please feel free to ask before we move on.
Yeah, hi, my name's Digger.
Hi.
I came to Expert Empires last week and saw this for the first time, and there was some talk about it would be useful for people getting to know this, that there were a bank of sort of library questions we could select from, questions that work well.
Okay.
Is that the case?
Well, if you select one of the templates, so we've got 20 templates, that they come with questions.
Okay.
Okay, so but other than that, there isn't a bank. Have you got your concept defined for your scorecard at the moment?
Yeah, it's helping people start their first business, teaching their passion. So I left the corporate world many years ago to teach martial arts full time. So it's helping people do the same. So looking at people that haven't started a business, that are thinking about doing so.
Okay, so are you ready? So could your passion be a business?
Yeah.
take the scorecard and find out. So then, have you got potential categories in mind for that?
No, because I only saw this for the first time on Friday, so I haven't come back to my busy week at Storm martial arts and haven't given much thought until today. So we'll sort of see what happens.
I wonder if you could do something like, knowing what you want as a category. So, have you got a passion? Are you happy with what you do currently? Because it kind of gives them a score.
Yeah.
And then maybe, so that could be a potential category, and then it could be, skills for setting up a new business, perhaps. So they could maybe get a score against that. See, what do you help people to ultimately do? Is it like coaching or?
Yeah, so it's a 90-day program. So they just work with me over a period of time to come up with a vision, mission, and strategy to either launch their business or realize it's, self-employment's not for them ultimately. So it's to come up with a plan and either decide to pull the trigger or not.
Okay, so they could be your categories: vision, mission, and strategy. Give them a score against each. That would work well.
Yeah.
And then I think once you've plotted your categories, your questions, they'll start to be like, have you got an idea of what you want to do? Are you ready at this time of your life to do it? Are you worried about any of the following? And you could start to just get a feel for where people are in their journey and how much knowledge they do have. Okay,
but there's not a best practice then in terms of questions that have worked well or got engagement in the past. It's a case of coming up with your own, is it?
If the template's not there, there's not. Sometimes there's a closest matching template that might give you some ideas. But so yeah, if the template's not there, it will be coming up from scratch.
All right, thanks.
No problem at all. Anybody else need any help with that before we move on to the results? No. Okay, thank you. So we've talked about the concept, we've talked about the landing page, talked about the questions. The next area is to deliver their results. So if you're on the starter package, and in fact, all of our packages, we have the results page. So immediately after they've finished the last question, this will be the page that they will see that will contain their scores and some feedback. Again, you will have a default page in your list, which you could click to edit, or you can click on this create result page here. And again, these are just structures that you could select from. So I'm just going to click on one that already exists, and we're going to get rid of this. Okay, so it's thank you for taking the scorecard. Here's your score. So this is their overall score. Now, this content next to it can be dynamic. So you can see we've got the dynamic content enabled, and we've got 3 different score tiers here. So you might have more score tiers and you might have named them differently, but they will be listed here. You can click on each one, put in the content that is relevant, and it will just pull in the right one based on how they scored. We have different ways of presenting this overall score. So if you go to add a section, so it's very similar to what we did on the landing page. You've got all the different section types, and overall score, you could have a percentage. So that suits examples where you're not using categories. But if you're using categories, you could have these pie charts, spider diagrams, speedometer. So choose which section type you like, and then go in and enable your dynamic content and start plugging in that content. So what is really good to do is to acknowledge their score. So you could tailor it. So you could go, don't worry if your score's low, and use reassuring language. Things like, you can make changes once you've got that clarity on your score, and you know what to focus on. It may be that you refer them to look at their category scores below, where you've got given all the insights, but it's nice to acknowledge their score, explain why it's important, and then give away some tips how they could improve their score. So we've got the overall score, and then we've got the category scores as well. So when we go to add a section, you can see that you've got 3 different designs in terms of presenting the categories. So again, select the design that suits you. If you've got lots of content, it may be that the 3rd option suits and houses that content more appropriately. If you want to make it a snapshot, then the middle design works well. And then you've got, if we come to our category scores, we've got our 3 categories. You can click on each one, and this is the toggle that you can slide on to enable that dynamic content, and you can start to plug in the relevant versions. So as well as giving people their score, giving them some tailored feedback, giving them some next steps to start thinking about and something to take away with and start to focus on, we'd also want, obviously, for you to be able to feature your call to action. It may be that you want to offer them a one-to-one session. You can connect your Calendly, so they could go and schedule that session. It may be that you want to feature a webinar. So there's lots of different call to actions that you could feature. If you go to add a section, call to actions, we've got various designs there. So you could have, 2 sat side by side. You've got one on its own. You could even have 3 at the end as well. So the possibilities, you can just add sections and call to actions as desired. In this particular call to action, in the button link box would be where you paste your Calendly link. You can always as well open an email window by just typing in mail to : and then entering an email address as well. So the results page is really the time to start showcasing exactly how you can help them. So that would be my advice, is just kind of pitch it. You want to give them something to think about, but leave them wanting more. You could start to then include, your offers, your testimonials about your company. So there's lots of scope on this results page. On the starter package, you can then enable a results email, which will give them a link back to this results page. If you're on our advanced package, the results page might become more of a snapshot of the results. And then you can also build a PDF on the platform. And then you can email a PDF into that results email, or both the results page and the PDF. So the PDF feature won't go into too much depth in this. I'm just going to show you around, but please, again, ask questions if anyone is particularly needing that sort of help in creating that PDF. My advice would be to start without a template on the PDF. I'm going to just go back because you can see there's one there. And then you add pages. So you can make it as big or as small as you like it to be. All of the pages can be dynamic. So you've got front covers to choose from, different ways of presenting their overall score. You've got intro and outro pages, and then you can start to delve into individual categories. And you've got all your call to actions as well. So you add the pages, you can move them around, and you can customize each one. So please shout if anyone's got any questions with regards to that PDF. So anybody happy to share their results page, so we can just jump in and see one in real life?
I'm always happy to get the feedback.
Thank you. Yes, let's go for it. Okay. I should have kept it open, shouldn't I? I'm just struggling to move this bit. Right. Fab. Let's come here, actually. Okay, so thanks for sharing this with us. So when I look at your results page, let's put this back up here. So we've got our overall score, we've got a score in each of the categories. Thank you for taking it. We've got our intro copy here. We've enabled the dynamic content, so we've got different versions based on low, medium, or high. So I can see straight away how I've scored. And then I know to look below and I can just look at my individual. So social media, let's have a look. We've got our dynamic content enabled.
I've got quite a bit of content in there. Would you recommend me switching up that that section page to where maybe it looks a little bit better?
I think they're definitely, I think in terms of, you know, you could just highlight the headings. You can use an icon, which helps as well. And then I think just using sort of the text sizing could help just present the text here. But in terms of quantity of content, I think, yeah, it doesn't look too much, because obviously you want to give them some valuable feedback.
Gotcha.
So social media score, not where you want it to be. No worries. Here are a few things you can do to improve your score. So that's like perfect. It's kind of not making them panic too much. And here's something that you can focus on. So that's really nice to see. So yeah, want to learn more, book a discovery session. So you've got your call to action in there. I think that could be bigger, bolder. I think you could have a visual in there. Yeah, well, so we're going to deep dive into results and produce an action plan, so we know it's complimentary. So yeah, I think I would just make that, you know, what's the next steps? Book in a discovery session. So I just make that bigger, make that bolder. I know from your landing page, we didn't know anything about, you may include that information about who you are, what you do, but it would definitely be nice to see a little bit more about who you are and what you do on this page.
Yeah.
But in terms of delivering value, that looks great. It's got everything that I would like to see there.
If I were to put our offer on this page, where would you maybe suggest that I place it? Should I put it in another section, or
what kind of offer is it?
So essentially what we're offering our clients who end up taking this is to join a risk-free case study for 60 days.
Okay.
Of course, if they're not completely satisfied with the automation that we set up for their business, at the end of the 60 days, they're able to get a complete refund.
Okay.
But it's just a 60-day case study. We're looking for our first, 5 to 10 clients really to get some results.
Okay, so you could put that. So obviously that's what you're wanting. That's a paid for. That's your product that you're selling at the end, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So you've got what you could do as a softer approach. So obviously you've got your discovery session. You could put, don't forget to check your inbox for a special offer, because what we would recommend that everybody does is integrate with a CRM, and I can show you how to do that. Push the information across, and then you can plan tailored follow-up sequences. So you can look at the data, you can decide who are your highest potential clients, and you could follow up with them and then start to build up to the sale in your follow-up sequences. So Daniel Priestley, he recommends, it takes quite a few interactions to warm that person up. So maybe you go in with, they've taken the scorecard, they receive a webinar in the next step, or a 30-minute recording of a webinar, and then you kind of, you build up to sending the information.
Okay. I just have one other question for you.
Yeah.
I wanted to resell ScoreApp to my clients so they can use it as a post-wedding survey for their clients so they can get feedback. Do you only get the affiliate link in the upgraded versions?
No, if you go to your account, you'll notice a section called referrals. And in that referral section, everybody's got a unique referral link. So if you share that link and anyone signs up using that link, they'll be connected to you, and you can receive up to 22% commission on what they spend for up to 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we've talked about the results page and delivering those results. Before I just move on to promotion, we mentioned about integration. So you'll find that there's a separate area for that on the toolbar. So if you select integrate, I'm still in Justin's here actually, but you can see the list of available CRMs here. So you can select from the list if yours is on here. If not, Zapier often acts as a bridge between CRMs. You'll be able to enter your API, and then it will open up options for you to map across. Any troubles with that, you can just contact support along the way. And if you are not integrating with a CRM, you'll be able to get your leads directly from the leads area on the blue bar, and you'll be able to export the leads from there. Krista, can I help?
Hi, thank you so much for this presentation. It's really helpful, and I'm a big quiz fan, so I use quizzes a lot. And so when I'm evaluating this tool, and I'm trying to understand when and who I would use this for. And my impression so far is this is a very lightweight, cold lead gen tool. So something that I would put up onto a website that has to be very short and fun and just really just try to get people into my funnel. And I'm just wondering if that is it, or if ScoreApp also has features for gathering more data, because I'm a big data person. So with my quizzes, my main goal of the quiz is to segment my list. So in most of my quizzes, I will have conditional logic, which is question branching, to try to say, for example, I'm a business coach. So I would say, where are you at in your business? Are you just thinking of starting a business? Because I don't work with those people and I have referrals. Or do you already run a business, and how many employees do you have in your business? And so instead of scoring them high or low, which doesn't make any sense, right? It's not a bad, wrong, right, or wrong answer. It's just question logic. And then based on that question, they would say, I run a company, I have employees, I have over 50 employees. Then I would ask them different questions than if I'm just working with someone who's a solopreneur. It would be very different. And so when I'm looking at this tool I would have to build a lot of different quizzes, but then how would I even know, I would have to create my own buttons on my landing page that says, if you are a seasoned business owner, click here to take this quiz. If you were a brand new business owner. So I would have to do a lot more coding work in order to use, and I would have to build multiple quizzes instead of just building one quiz that has conditional logic and that asks them the right or wrong questions and then segments them and then tags them and then puts them into a different outcome. So I'm just curious if my perception is correct that this wouldn't work. This would just be a lightweight first top of funnel product.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think ScoreApp would be relevant for those cold leads, simple scorecards that you mentioned, 10 questions. But we also have customers who use it for, full-on assessments and delving further into the data. So when we talk about scores, that's in terms of, what you want to present to them at the end so that they get something valuable out of it, the person that's taking the scorecard. But for you, you're going to be able to gather all the data. You're going to be able to map across category scores, lead form fields. So you could map across, how big the business size was. So you can put them into campaigns and into pots to enable you to do what you need to do. The one thing that we haven't got is conditional logic that you mentioned. So, we would flow through all of the questions. But what we try and do at ScoreApp is we deliver some value for the person taking it, as well as then giving you the data that you need for making that lead turn into a sale. We've got on our advanced package, I'm not going to use Justin's, but we have this audience feature here, which might be quite useful for you. So this allows you to really segment your audience. So you can create an audience, because at the moment, obviously, you can give feedback whether they scored low, medium, or high. But you could create a condition where, you know, companies who are this size and they haven't got this, for example, so linked to a particular question, it will show you everybody that's in that list. So you can segment it, and then it allows you to also create very personal result page experiences for them. So only that audience would see that particular section on a results page as well. We've also got insights here. So this tells you, it will give you, for example, nobody's taken this scorecard, but it gives you lovely pie charts of how everybody has answered each single question. So, you know, do you exercise every day? It might show you that 43% of the people answered have said yes, and the others have said no. It will show you how the landing pages are performing. It will show you the scores, that's the score tiers that people fell into. It will show you the question performance, so you can see if there's any red flags in terms of, you know, particular questions that are sticking points for people. And then when you do collect your leads here, let me show you on another scorecard so I can bring it to life a bit more. You can, so if you're clicking on the particular lead here, you're going to be able to jump into this lead, and then you're going to be able to view all of their answers. So this is great if you're, you know, if you've got a sales follow-up call, you can have all this data in front of you. You know, we recommend the seesaw technique. So you intro something they've scored really well at, you intro something that maybe they haven't scored so well at that you could help them with. So there's a lot of data sat there in the background. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to have to do 2 steps instead of 1, meaning I would have to create my own landing page outside of ScoreApp that has a button that says, you know, if you are an existing company solopreneur, click here and take this scorecard. And then if you have a bigger company with teams, take this one.
Okay.
And then I would have to create 2 different quizzes because you don't have the conditional logic built in, so that they would actually get more value out of that quiz and not be like, wow, this isn't relevant. Why are they asking me this question? And I can't skip ahead, or I can't say non-applicable. So that makes sense. And the other thing I'm going to let you go on, but is about bots. So yeah. I do a lot of quizzes, and as you know, quizzes are lead gen tools, so they're public facing. So they're going to be on your website. They're going to be public. And I've had to put in some measures to stop bots from taking my quizzes.
Okay.
And what that means is that you come in and you see someone took your quiz 20 times and it's a bot.
Yeah.
And what I've done is I've created a customized homepage on my quizzes that makes them answer a question that only a human would be able to answer.
Okay.
And then if they answer wrong, I put them to a customized end screen that says, sorry, this quiz is only for humans. Okay. And it won't let them submit. So, you know, the submit button, like submit your answer. And that way it's not counted against my plan. Because, you know, a quiz, it's like you pay per month by the number of submissions. Yeah. So if a bot takes 100 times your quiz, you just got 100 times billed for something, and you don't want them in your database. So that's why I put that preventative measure. What does ScoreApp do for bots, or do you have a captcha instead? I'm just curious how you guys prevent bots from taking the quiz and then billing me and getting into my CRM?
Yeah, so we have a email verification to make sure that it looks that it has the elements of an email address. So we have the @ the .com, the .co.uk. We also would, if that was ever the case, we would absolutely not include those responses in your response limit either. So if you just reached out to us and said, look, it looks like that a bot has taken my quiz, we would just remove those from your response total.
Okay, so I would have to go in, because a lot of people take my quiz, so I wouldn't notice. That's why I put that question in the beginning so I don't ever have to worry about it. But I guess with your tool, I would just have to be monitoring more closely and then reach out when I see them and ask you to remove them. Okay.
But in all of the time that I've worked here, I've only ever seen it once across all of our quizzes. And it was because, this particular customer had gone to somewhere else. And so there was a reason for it. But apart from that, I've never ever seen it.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. Okay, guys, so we're running out of time. When you've created your scorecard, you have to go and tell the world about it. So you have to publish it and you have to share that link and promote it. So there are a number of strategies that we recommend for promoting your scorecard. Let me just here. So include it on your website, have it as a banner, make it really sort of a standout part of your website. You can include it on anything that leaves your office. So it could be email signatures. It can be on all the contact details on your social media profiles. Don't forget to take the scorecard with a link to it. Social media, you could post about it at regular intervals, but you can also make it the call to action for other posts that you do. So if you've got a blog, you've got a podcast, you're sharing that, the scorecard could be the call to action that you use for that activity. If you've got running events, workshops, getting people to take the scorecard while you're at an event often works really, really well. So there's a number of organic methods, and then you've got your paid for advertising as well, so Google, YouTube, Facebook. So lots of different possibilities. My colleague Sarah will share with you in the chat. Sarah's waving. We've got this guide called 29 different ways to promote your scorecard. Now that is absolutely fantastic in terms of generating the ideas to get your scorecard out there. And I just recommend, being consistent with it. So get it out there. Sometimes people get it out there, see that initial flurry, and then maybe, take their foot off the gas, but obviously just keep posting, keep it relevant, run live sessions to talk through the scorecard. So there's lots and lots of different possibilities there for getting your scorecard seen. So we're just finishing up. Is there any questions that I can answer? If you've got everything you need from this webinar today, please feel free to leave. Thank you so much for joining us. Email support@scoreapp.com if anything, you need any help, you want any feedback. We offer one-to-one sessions. We've got a live chat feature. So we are here for you to make your scorecard great. And thank you for joining. But anyone else that's got any questions, please go for it. I think no questions good, because that means I've covered everything, or
No, I sent you a couple of messages, so perhaps you can get back to me on those.
Oh, have you popped them in the chat or
directly to the host?
Okay, fab. I will check those out and get back to you on those ones. Well, we are on perfect time. Thank you so much, guys. Lovely to see you, and hopefully I will see you all again in the future.